Hi, everyone. We are back. We are Mystics at the grocery store, and we are so excited and grateful that you've returned to be with us again. I am Rosalyn, one of the co hosts. I'm joined by the lovely Melinda and Adrienne.
I was just about to say, my
And
name is Melinda.
we know each other well enough. We're just going to be each other. But yes, we are back and we are excited to be talking about our topic today, which is going to be kind of this feeling of a shift in seasons, moving out of the summertime, moving into autumn, kind of this feeling of back to school, back to routine, kind of coming into a bit more structure as we enter into, or we're in at this point, but as we rest and enjoy the time of Virgo. But yeah, so to begin, let's just check in a little bit. How have you been, Melinda?
I've been being. I don't know why I have so much trouble answering that question because I'm like asking every chakra, every layer, every etheric, and every guide, every I can't I'm like you want me to answer in one way this question?
Just pick one.
Okay, I gotta pick one. Gosh, it's great to be alive today. On to you, Adrienne.
No pressure.
No, oh my goodness. Well, you know what? I am feeling a transformative, releasing energy. Even I would say that energy pointing back to um, hmm, self-questioning. Like what are you taking? What are you keeping? What's staying in the backpack? What do you need for this year? What do that kind of thing? And letting go of things that, oh crap, I did it that way again. And that self judgment of, oh, you know what? I really didn't want to show up in that way, but I sure the hell did. And what am I learning from that kind of a thing? And, am I beating myself up kind of a thing because, oh, I kind of went backwards a little bit and, oh, that's not the energy I wanted to be. So coming back forward. So that feeling of being back there, like in retrograde, I guess.
I was just about to say, I'm like, Adrienne in retrograde and then going direct. That is hilarious. Yes, I have felt the same things. Lots of transition, shifting energy, things coming into clarity. What else? Yeah, just layers and layers of like unfolding. Well, not necessarily even unfolding, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Like turning of page to just keep reading, I guess. Just reading more information. It's all coming in. Yeah. And reviewing and then moving forward and reviewing and moving forward. Rosalind also in retrograde and going
And
direct.
here we are.
Yes. Wonderful. Well, we're excited to be back. This is a fun topic. It's an interesting shift, I feel like, after Leo season, the summer months. Yeah, it feels like, and I know I'm personally already noticing the days getting a little bit shorter. Like the sun is kind of changing. How, like, what time in my normal routine is the sun coming up? I'm like starting to feel that shift of the seasons changing, which is kind of exciting because I'm ready for some cooler weather down here in South Texas. But we will begin with our weather forecast with our lovely forecaster, Adrienne.
Lover, Adrienne.
Lover,
Lover.
Adrienne.
She's a lover, not a
Not
fighter.
a fighter. Actually.
Yes.
What was coming to me when you were saying, and you were speaking about what you're going through, your energies, is that, gosh, voice, come on. I have to apologize, people out there. coming off of a sickness, and I'm just going to jump into this. I do not like when people don't admit that they're sick, and then they say it's just allergies. Well, it's clearly not allergies because I'm now sick.
Lies.
So lies, lies. Like, just be honest. Did you put something, whatever. And I know things flow through mass, so I'm not even going to get into that whole thing. But anyway, what was coming to me? There was this game that we played where we put the pieces of paper on our fingers, and like you it started this way, and you told the person count to 5, and then you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you open that. I don't even know what that game was called, but it just came to me. I'm like, ooh, I should do that.
I loved that as a kid.
Yeah, we need to know what that game's called. People, if you remember, please let us know, and if you have
The
directions on how
people,
to
tell
do
us the
it.
people.
Right. Yeah.
Lauren, get on that right away.
Exactly.
Shout out.
She's our number one fan.
And then, hit that over to us because I want to use that on my practice sets too for the swimsuit. Like, throw something in there and then have
That would be
count a
so
number, and they're like, "Oh my
fun.
God, Coach, 500 fly!" Yeah. But anyway, sorry guys, got a little bit off topic there. Now we're swinging back around. This is the conversation before we go back into school because we're getting ready to enter the school building now, and we have new rules here where new things that we're going to have to do, new ways that we have to do them. The old ways have fallen away, and yet we remember them as helpers and tools in our backpacks. That's how I'm going to talk about it. So we're coming off of, and I just got to set the stage a little bit because we're coming off of that new moon with that sacred reset at the IC, which is at the bottom of your birth chart, and it's telling you to get things in order, seek community that are going to feel like home, and they're going to help you achieve this order that you're looking for, and create those systems that help you go forward into the next level, create those systems, those steps. So I'd love to hear, in the notes down below, people, please let us know what systems you've put into place. And then before I share what systems I put into place this last 2 weeks, I'm interested to know what you and Melinda and Rosalyn put together. And yeah, I'm just going to stop right there.
Melinda, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I love what you just said. As you know, am floating on some kind of a raft of summer still. I'm staying outside of the school building just for 1 second longer. But at the same time, I have been on one aspect of consciousness thinking deeply about this issue of back to school. No, listen, to such an extent that I ended up doing a whole side project connected, which I'll talk about to this episode. And I was like, oh my, that is what I'm talking about. There is like, I can like float in my Pisces like ocean of just feeling the presence and the waves lapping and the support of the salt water and the sun, and I could just be there. But at the same time, there's this like something going click, 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 and here you go. You're getting all this. You're about to get a download of writing syllabuses and what do they mean and like what does it represent in society and like how are we gonna how can we look at even education and what are we doing and what is learning and its direction of mind and like what is structure versus expansion and so yeah, I'm very interested in hearing what the astrological weather is around that and like I'm slowly coming into shore now, and stepping onto the sand and like toweling off, but like I'm still gonna feel that energy of the how I allowed myself to be in open awareness over summertime energy and wander. And then, but I truly know that's part of the hermetic, wisdom. You have your time of expansion and float, if you will, and then you have to come into a time of gathering and condensation and it's all part of the fabric of reality. So I'm ready to join you at school.
Yeah, I have had somewhat of a similar situation. I feel like I'm definitely feeling like one of the kids who's like, I don't want to go back just yet. But at the same time, in recent meditations and what we're doing in some of the classes that we're currently in, I feel like I've met my teachers, and I'm like, it's a year where I'm like really excited for like the teachers that I have, and I'm like excited to get into the meat of what's on the syllabus, and like the year feels exciting. And kind of to your point, Melinda, I think I'm like getting to a point where I'm kind of ready to maybe contract and like go more inward a little bit. Like there was a lot of like outward realization and maybe like understanding of self and seeing some things. And now I'm kind of ready to like step in with some new teachers and just get into some new knowledge and new understanding. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to go back to school.
Yeah, I am excited to see the professors and the teachers um, in a different um, view, different set of eyes, and more of um, collaborators instead of like instructors pulling me along. They're collaborating with me. We're sitting around and we're kind of figuring this stuff out together. And, they're giving me gentle nudges like, hey, did you see this? Look, 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 look. Oh my God, did you guys see it? And they're like, yeah, we saw it. But we wanted you to see it as well. That kind of a thing. But yeah, definitely having fun and ready and acknowledging those things that came during that summer, those lessons that came through the summer of, um, I'm getting a sense of like a lot of fresh breezes just coming through and that firm and flexible that you see in the meadow with things going back and forth. Yes, you've learned this. And then you're just being soft with it as you prepare for the next part of this whole process. So that's what's been happening with me. So now we get into September. We're getting ready to start the school year. What is on the syllabus? Like seriously. And there was we're getting ready to go. We're in the eclipse season, so things are being shaken away. Either you let them go voluntarily, or they're going to be shaken away, and it might be a little bit more forceful than you want it. But that depends on how hard you're going to hold on to it. So you kind of I'm getting this vision of I love animals. Just let me say that. But you know how you have, you ever see that? I don't know if it was a show or whatever, Indiana Jones, where the monkey is trying to steal something and he's got it in his hand, but he can't pull it through because the bars are just too narrow and he doesn't realize, just drop it, because it can't come with you. Like, how much are you resisting? And he didn't realize that all he had to do was turn it sideways and it would just slide right through the cage. So it's like, how much are you resisting this change? It's going to happen. We change. That is part of being a human. We change. Fighting, resisting. Yeah, there's some kind of, oh, I'm so sad to see that leave. But what did I learn from it? What did I gain from it? If you just, if I just turn this sideways, I can get this big old ruby coming out through the cage and we're out of here instead of trying to. But anyway, so the theme of this cycle is really what are you putting in your tool belt? And it's kicking you to the next level. I'm sorry. Like, boom, here we go. The reason that we go through this cycle is so that we continue to evolve and evolve and evolve towards whatever it is our chosen life path is. And that's where your south node and your north node come into account, because they're the things that are pulling you in either direction. Those are the eclipses. Okay. So I was going to not talk about what an eclipse is right now, and I won't do that. But
I
anyway,
would say maybe, give us a little bit, because I know just personally from the things that I see online, everybody talks about eclipse season as like this big, scary, terrible, like fear mongering, like, oh, eclipse season is here. And it's like all these posts are just like, wow, wow, wow. Like, and I don't fully even understand it myself. So I would say if you have a gentle explanation, I would love to hear it.
I do. And I'm going to refer it back to being in school. So it's the first day of school, and you're going from elementary to middle school. So you're with your same friends, but it's just a different school building, possibly. It's a different set of um, responsibilities, even. When you go from elementary to middle, a little bit different. Middle to high school to, there's little differences in the stages. So that's how I would explain an eclipse. Now, you had the whole summer to ground. And that's what they give you the summer for. Ground, get ready, because we're taking a step up. How to get comfortable with this type of altitude is even coming into my awareness right now. So yeah, I would indicate it's like the first day of school, just to keep it simple. But it's when the sun and the moon, when they're on their orbit, they align with the north node and the south node. And the north node is where you're going in your fate, and the south node is what you're very comfortable doing, what you reincarnated with, what you know how to do. But the reason that they're kind of facing each other like this, like a horseshoe and I don't know, because they're in opposites. They're always in opposition, because the north node is pulling you forward to try to get you to evolve. They want you to evolve. That's what you came here for. And the south node is like here. It's got this little basket of the tools that you have, and the north node is saying, okay, let's have them grow now. They're growing. So when the sun and moon meet these nodes, the full moon and the new and any eclipse is like 10 times whatever. So it's 10 times the full moon right now. And this is a total lunar eclipse. So the moon, our wants are like totally seen right now. The sun is not blocking out anything. Our eyes are not like, oh, it's too bright, we can't see. You can see everything. So yeah, that's kind of like how I explain it.
No, I love that. I think that's super helpful.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to learn a lot more about this because I know I was born during an eclipse season. I'm an eclipse baby. I was born on a full moon in eclipse in Pisces. So I'm like ready to learn. As part of my back. I'm ready to learn all about that. So can't wait for the next time when we do a deeper dive into that.
We'll see. We'll see. Um,
Okay.
so on the 1st of September, Saturn is going retrograde into Pisces. It's already retrograde it was already retrograde in Aries, but on the 1st, it's going to go retrograde even more back into Pisces. So it's going back to review. It reviewed everything in the Aries, or it's starting to review everything in the Aries and the action. And it's saying, okay, wait a minute, let me just go back into Pisces and like really envelop and really look and get that final review of those lessons that I learned during that Piscean energy. Um, so that I'm ready to step into my legacy, because that's what that Piscean energy is saying. You can't stay in this house forever. I'm sorry. I love you being here, but you got to go. You can come back and visit. We'll talk about what we learned, but you got to go. So step into your legacy. Become who you are. Becoming who you are. Become. No more ing. Just do. Okay. Um, there's some pieces of soul business that are left here that need to be reevaluated. Either chalk them up as, well, that's bullshit. That's in the bullshit column, and that's not true about me. So no, I'm not going with that. Or, I'm still feeling that a little bit. Wonder what's around there. Journal about it. Get an idea. Um, and then release old hangups. And everything that's coming, whether it's the eclipse, whether it's Uranus, whether it's Neptune dissolving, everybody's saying, like, just release those hangups. Release them in a way that you could see them in a higher level and a different level, and one that's going to be beneficial. And even if you just release it a little bit, and a little bit of negativity released is going to make room for that positive purification. So that's kind of like where we're going with this whole process. Okay. On the second, we have um, Mercury going into Virgo. Mercury loves Virgo. They're partying, they're happy, they're comfortable, they love each other, and it's happening in the 11th house. So for me, what that's saying is like, look at your relationships, look at your friendships, your community. Think about them. Are they being helpful to you? Are they holding you back? Is it a weight around your neck? Is it that pool buoy or that like life jacket that when you need to float towards it, there it is? Or if you don't need to float toward it, it's still there and you know it. Like, is this community beneficial to you? Is this friendship beneficial to you? And it's asking you to take a really hard look because Mercury in Virgo, razor sharp, pinpoint. Virgo's like, I don't have time to get into boom, and let's move on. Boom. And Mercury's like, okay, I got you. This is what I found out. Okay. And it's going to be meeting up with the sun and Mercury. I mean, the sun and Virgo as well. So it's asking you to have a little discernment about whether or not you're being in service to yourself and others or a servant to self and others. And I'm just going to drop the bomb right there. Like, that's just something for you to consider, right? Um, Chiron is in a trine with this energy. So it's saying if you are whichever one you are in service or servant, is there some healing that needs to occur around there? And if there is, let's do some healing around that. Why do you feel like you have to be a servant? Why do you feel like you have to be in service? Does your inserviceableness reflect how you value yourself? You know, that type of thing is coming up. Um, and yeah, I'd like to know what you guys think about what I just said about those 2 days.
Incredible.
Mm.
So much.
Mhm.
You just said so much. Beautiful. Every time you talk, I'm just carried along and I can see myself, and it just brings up so many cool ideas. And when you said in service or servant, it made me just tune into like duty and responsibility and ideas about what what is our duty and responsibility. Like, let's take a look at what do we have on our plate. Is it something we've chosen? Is it aligned to our values? Is it really necessary? Is it codependent, or is it, chosen within the right frequency? What is the agreement we've made? So like I think that's a really rich area to like dive into. And I've thought a lot about service and sacrifice as a person on the Virgo Pisces axis of service in astrology, and basically being in a helping profession of sorts or a teaching profession and working with people and being a helpful person and taking care of people and family, and all of these issues require like a nice a little investigation, a little inquiry. And I think that's great. That sounds like this season is supporting that type of inquiry.
Yeah. What came up for me when you were saying that, Adrienne, service versus servant, what's been coming up for me in my own daily practice is trying to understand like your value of self and how much you are a gift to others. And I think if you can serve yourself first and not in some like ego-driven way, but like in your true kind of care for self to help, you be nurtured and whatever, then you realize like what a gift you are to yourself and how you can be a gift to others. And I think checking in the moments of, is this situation or person or whatever it is, like you were saying, Melinda, obligation or just life, whatever, am I feeling like I am a gift? Do I feel like I can confidently say that like my heart is in the right place? Am I in service to this situation because I know that I bring it value, rather than is it obligation that I feel like I can't escape, or that I can't, that I don't have a choice in. And in that way, I'm the servant in this situation. So I think, yeah, what a time to be reflecting on that. It's huge, huge, huge,
Huge.
just for your self-worth and your own path. Like, you have to stay focused on your own path no matter what situations are around you. Yeah.
Yeah. There's just yeah, I love what both of you are saying, because it just continues to speak volumes about what's going on in the stars as well. And on this day as well, Mercury is also creating a trine with the moon that is in Capricorn at that IC, again, holding down all the things that are occurring in the air. And it's talking about discipline, discipline of old stuff. And I got very loudly capital letters, stop, enough, move on. Like, stop with the noise in your own head, move on. You know it's not true. You know your truth. Stop. Capricorn is like, I'm going to hold it a little bit longer. This is what we want. This is what the moon wants. Let it go. Um, and then we jump into that eclipse energy. But before we get into the eclipse energy, one of the professor planets, which is Uranus, is like, you know what? It's going to go retrograde. It's direct. Well, as of right now that we're recording, it's direct. But on the 7th, like early in the wee mornings, it's going to go back retrograde. Okay. Still in Gemini, but now it's retrograde, and it's just thinking, it's just reviewing some of the communication, some of the ways we want to communicate. Do we want to be innovative? Is that enough innovation? How comfortable is your nervous system with this level of innovation that you've envisioned? Because you've got Neptune flying right beside you going, yeah, let's play, let's train this. And Uranus is like, I can see that vision, but my nervous system, I need a little bit of time to acclimate to that a little bit. So Uranus is just taking just a little bit of a time to just go back a little bit and looking at those internal breakthroughs around speaking, around communication, around subconscious things, limiting beliefs, inner conflicts. Again, just looking at them. And if you're only comfortable looking at them, then just look at them. But if you're comfortable looking at them and starting to lift the layers off of them, start lift a layer off. Journal about that. Lift another layer off. Journal about that. Starts to make you feel uncomfortable or dis-ease. Tip, cleans, and breath. Maybe flip another layer, or maybe don't. Just sit with it at that point and say, why? Maybe why? Ask that question, why? Or just like, okay, well, maybe I'll just sit at this spot right here. And what energies are you shooting off from there? And just kind of evaluate that a little bit. On the 7th, like in that early morning, um, okay. Neptune is about dissolving illusions. And Pluto is about transformation. So you dissolve and then you transform. And Uranus is like that lightning bolt, like it's wake up, it's time. These three are in a trine. So you've got the wake up, lightning bolt coming down. This is what's going on. This is it's now in your awareness. And then Neptune is coming in and saying, okay, let's dissolve this. Let's dissolve what you're feeling around this. Let's dissolve any illusions you have around this feeling, around these words, around these limiting beliefs that you think you have. And then Pluto is like, all right, transform. Boom. They go on to the next day because they don't have time, because the eclipse is coming the same day in a matter of hours. So that's the energy that you're going into the eclipse with. You've got those professor planets telling you, okay, the syllabus is changing, sweet. We got you. We're holding our hand out for you. We got you. We're going to give you assistance. We've got plenty of people, plenty of players to help out. But we're doing this. And then that total lunar eclipse comes through and says, pivot. We all have the same direction in mind. We all have the same thought pattern of where we want something to go, where we want it to be, and we're following that North Node magnetism that's growing all those things that we've learned in the South Node. And we're pivoting to get it to go into the right direction, or the new direction, this next direction. I don't want to say right or wrong. I don't want to do that. I want to say next. And it's a complete reset towards your destiny. And interestingly enough, it's going to be in Pisces. The moon's in Pisces. Okay. So depending on where it is hitting in your chart, um, you're either going to be releasing something, or it's being shaken away. And wherever it's hitting, whatever house it's hitting, or what other planets it's making aspects to, that's what you're going to be releasing. That's the topics it's going to be releasing, themes that it's going to be releasing or shaking up for you. And again, I don't want to be judgy and say something's being released, something's fallen away. Something is changing. And it's okay that it's changing. Going back to school, new classroom, new teachers, new topics, okay? That's what's changing. Could be something that's simple. Doesn't have to be something that's so explosive that it shakes your world. And when you were doing your work back in the summer and grounding yourself into where you currently are, feeling out your new feathers and what they feel like to fly with no pressures of outsideness because you've got the summer off. Like, what did it feel like? How did it feel? And now that you grounded into it, let's make the next step. It's like you're stepping up that run, and your feet is solid on one run. Is that what they're called on a ladder? That's what I'm calling. So then you can make the next step even when you're climbing up a mountain. And then the last thing that I'm going to say about this total lunar eclipse before I hand it over to you guys, um, is that it's also in a trine with Jupiter and Cancer. Okay. And what that's saying to me is it's like be expansive in your kindness towards yourself, and releasing the waste that just is not truth, that it's not truth. Um, be expansive in things that you think are wasteful, and really put your eye on them. View them. You've got Mercury right there, Mercury and Venus, Mercury and Venus. Venus is going in after,
Virgo.
yes, Mercury and Virgo, giving you that razor sharp eye. Like, well, if we look at this and we look at it in a different view, can I see the positives of this? And when you can see the positives of something, or when you can see the benefits of something, it's a lot easier to let it go. Okay. So that's what I get from the total lunar eclipse.
That's big. Very big. I think too, when you were saying Jupiter and Cancer, right? That to me was coming across as very like, it's expansive to let yourself feel. Like there is an expansiveness rather than trying to like harden up in your little shell. There is some goodness in feeling and an expansive energy and letting the things come up that need to be felt. And then, like everything else right now, let it go and move through and move on and put the lesson in your backpack, and there we go.
Yeah, I like how you just put it in those terms. It's in terms of feelings, like I could see that Jupiter in Cancer, like allowing that expansion, allowing the feelings to come out. There is also a sense of that can feel overwhelming potentially initially, because maybe you're not used to allowing all of it to surface or expand, and you might worry that, oh my God, you have to clamp down. We're going back to school. We have to get this in order. But it's just like, again, trusting that that's actually the best way to release, is to allow it all to flow out. Because if you try to like siphon it or like constrict it a little tiny bit, like I'm going to feel just a little bit, and then like you're still got it backed up in the system. So if you really want to harness those energies, it's probably is the wisest thing to just allow everything to flow out, allow it to surface, allow it to expand, look at it, try to bring your consciousness, detach a little bit, take a like view from above, cosmic view. And that's what I love about all that is Adrienne is sharing about the astrological weather. It just highlights all these layers that are happening, all of these influences that we might be feeling in different ways and hitting us even at different moments of our day, and how we can kind of take a pause just like that. I wrote that down when Adrienne, Adrienne,
The
I just turned you
lover,
into
Adrienne,
some
the
kind of
lover.
the lover, Adrienne. Take a pause, like all the pauses you built in for self-compassion, all the ways you can give yourself like a little hug, and like you're recognizing things about yourself, like and the energies that are at play, and like we're learning and how to balance all of these dimensions and all of these, your emotions and your thinking and your and the constrictions and we're that's what we're in this field of these natural laws, and we're looking at how to just keep moving with give ourselves grace as we keep moving forward. So I love that.
Yeah.
Pivoting back to you, Adrienne.
Pivot. Those of you guys that don't know, well, we were talking about the episode in Friends where it's Chandler, Ross, and not Monica, but the other one, blonde hair,
Blondie.
Blondie, and they're trying to get the sofa up the stairs. Maybe we should link that down below because I crack up every single time I watch that.
It's the best.
Um,
The best.
So what's interesting is when I circle back around to what you guys were saying about letting go, I get that firm and flexible. Okay. Like that it hits you and then you just kind of come back with it. And that's that pause and that detached to it. Like if you let it hit you, constantly be off balance way back, or do you come back? And that's, it's funny because when I was first getting that vision up front, or up front at the very beginning of being on, in a prairie in a field with the grass kind of going back and forth and you kind of breezing through it and settling in. It's interesting how that came back around. Anyway.
Yeah.
Pendulum.
It is a pendulum.
Always swinging back and forth.
So the next date that came to me was 9/9 because it's September 9th, 2009. So you've got 3 nines. You got 999.
2009.
It goes to a 9. Sorry, 2000.
Okay,
Just
the
going
year of
forward.
9.
Just clarifying.
9 in a year of 9.
All right, another step. Here we go. 2009, absolutely. So, when I was looking at this, I'm like, this day, I just can't let it go. It's got to be something. There's something about this day. And what was coming to me was end, or cancel, cancel, cancel. And the reason for that is I wanted to look where the gifts are on this day and where the challenges are on this day. And the gifts, again, you've got Jupiter and Cancer in the 7th house, talking about partnership, relationships, contracts. It's a great time for expanding and nurturing those things. And these can be with yourself as well. The fact that it's in the 7th house, it's coming out into the brightness of, but it's about like those partnerships, that community and things of that nature. Expanding it, expanding your vision of it, just expanding how you nurture it, expanding how you nurture yourself as well. That's a gift. And then the challenge is having the courage to let go of those old stories that we were just talking about. Okay. And again, you can cancel, or end these old stories. And there's a fire trine on this day. So it's take action on these things. So it's a trine between Venus and Leo. The moon is in Aries and the ascendant has Sagittarius. So it's how you're being seen, how you're deciding to shine, and what you want. Take action. Let it be what you want it to look like for your next level. The new school clothes that you put on. This is the image This is the image I decided to create this year. Um, and then that's all I've got for you guys.
Well, that's all I've got. That's a lot of got that we just got.
I love it.
No, I love what you ended on too. And I think it really beautifully leads into like all the things that we kind of prepped to discuss when we were kind of planning this episode. But that 9 energy very much seems to resonate with shifting from the summer months into the autumn months. Like we're kind of gently being led, even just in nature and in the seasons, to kind of see that as this, okay, it's time for the things to fall away. It's time for the beginning of the cycle of renewal. And sometimes on the surface it looks scary and our leaves are dying and falling off of us, and that can be intimidating, but we just have to remember that the cycle continues. But yeah, I love that nature is always reflecting, even in the stars and all the things that we just talked about. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and the fire trine. I just want to say that over and over. Fire trine.
That sounds powerful.
I guess. Very powerful.
Like, wow. And it also like you're like that's a great like daily reflection at the end of the day of what are your gifts? What were the gifts of the day? What were the challenges of the day? You also brought that up, Adrienne. Adrienne. But and that courage. But in terms of going back to school energy, I wanted to bring to consciousness one of the cards from the Energetic Alchemist Oracle deck, because it came through to like as a nice way to talk about some of these things that we're talking about. And in Yolanda's deck, and you don't need to see this picture, I'll paint it, but it really relates to like the fire trine on some level, because it's a fire card and it's the card of courage in the fire element. It's number 23, which is a 5, which is about like we're going to make a change now. And I'll show it, but I'll also talk about it. Like there's a child going off to what looked probably school with a red backpack, going off, maybe I imagine to walk to school or maybe go catch the bus, but like leaving home, leaving what probably are the parents. There's 2 other figures in the card in the foreground, what probably is a mother and a father, each having their own like emotional response to this, going back to this new school situation, to letting go of your child who's going off. Looks like the man in the foreground, maybe the father is smiling like, yeah, go get him, go out there and learn your lessons, like and the mother looks a bit worried. There's a bit of protection, like, well, are they going to be nice to my child? Like, is everybody going to be kind? Like, I'm just, this is one picture we could paint of this, like, back to school energy. Like, just to point out, there's a lot going on when we embark on a new course of study, even if we're not in elementary school, even as adults, and that our chosen new courses of study will actually not only expand us and take us out of what is familiar to us, like our family and what we've learned in family, but what it's taking us and it's affecting the others in the family. It's what I find interesting about the card too. It's not just the kid going off. It's like the parents are shown in reaction. There is, it's in relationship. Like everything we do has impact on others around us, and all of our courses of study are kind of touching little illuminating points in other people's fields. So it's just interesting to consider, because I know we were going to talk about like what are we planning to study? What is our, what have we been studying, and what are we shifting about that, as we go into the back to school kind of vibe. But I don't know, what do you think about that card?
I love that you bring that up. As soon as you said you were going to pull one of the cards from, I was like, I know exactly which one she's going to grab. Yeah, I love that card. And I don't often pull that card myself, but now that I'm putting this into the universe, watch me for the next week pull that card. But no, I love that. And I love the reflection that the energy moves not just through the child, but through everyone. And I just think the energy of this time of year and everything that we just discussed in the skies, it is so much focused about your path, but I think as long as you have an awareness of how your energy flows out from you, then you're doing kind of the work of being reflective of those two other figures in the card in a way. Yeah, I love that for the back to school. What about you, Adrienne?
I had to pull it because I need to see it too. So what I like is like when you look at the little boy's face, there is a little bit of caution. Like, am I ready for this? And the dad's like, heck yeah. He's got you can't see the faces. The child can't see the faces of the parent, but you could
That's true.
tell when the dad has got his arm up like this, he's like, you've got this, but he can't see the worry on mom's face. But he could see her demeanor. And I think the parents too are trying to give a little bit of freedom for this child to experience it the way that he's going to experience it himself. And I love on this card that the clouds are moving away and he's walking into the sun. That's the sun back there.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love that reflection on their body language, and how even though, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like he can't see their faces, but we all know exactly, really truly, just being in observation, knowing people, we know by their body language, by their habits, by what they've expressed in the past, like what they're feeling, and that child's job in that moment is to take a breath, acknowledge what they see, and then turn and like walk their path to the sun, and just, be able to release some of those energetic threads that are, those bonds are strong, and and again, duty and responsibility, like it's the path of the seeker is really to stay true to themselves and not study the things that, just because that's what the parents wanted for you, that's what you're supposed to study and do, that's who you're supposed to be. No, let that go. You have to follow your own true north. Your north node is calling.
Yeah. What came to mind for me too, kind of in conjunction with that, is the polarity between freedom and control. Like, if you saw all those figures as you, then how much freedom are you giving the child within to kind of seek the things that light you up, or that you're supposed to follow, versus how much control you're trying to steer the ship and let the emotions kind of, are you showing the emotions? Are you hiding the emotions from that version of you that's trying to step forward? Yeah, I just keep seeing the pendulum in my mind of that.
Yeah, what's coming to, I mean, we could sit here for another hour looking at this card, but two things are coming to me.
Sorry, I had to bring it up.
Just what you said, Rosalyn, parents not wanting to hold back from possibilities. Like, look at those stairways. All those stairways are nice and clear, and they're just possibilities. There is one dark stairway. But again, that freedom to explore that, you got to let them go through it themselves. And then what's really interesting is, like, do you see how the child's path is not really clear? Like, there's a darkness right there before the trees start, before the clouds start. Yeah, one day we have to, like, really break that down, because that's like like his next
That's
steps.
a whole other level.
I know. This, yeah.
I love that.
Well, that I did want to share about, like, the other, like, what I referred to earlier in terms of, like, when I was floating in my summertime raft, and then all of a sudden, was thinking about this episode, and, like, download came in about syllabus, like, what is a syllabus? And of course, who doesn't love to read syllabi? I think we all do. Probably there are people who are like, she's crazy. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? But anyway, we all love to read a syllabus, and I just started thinking about, what are they? Like they are essential, for, like, learning. They're like a container. They're like an overview. They're like, and you're making a choice. It's an agreement, right, to go into. Like, they're listing the overview of what we're going to learn, the course requirements, what you have to go maybe acquire, get your notebooks, get your pens. Here's the bibliography. Here's going to be what you're going to be required to do. Maybe there's going to be some, like, partner activities. You're going to be pushed out of your comfort zone. Maybe there'll be a presentation to do. Maybe you'll have some group conversation. You'll have to teach an aspect of it yourself. You have to take ownership and integrate the knowledge that you're learning. And maybe there's going to be some accountability tools in there. And I'm sure you guys have done a lot of thinking about syllabus. What ended up happening to me is that I was like, I got to write my own syllabus for my own self about a project that I am not finished. Like, why can't I? I was like, so I wrote a whole syllabus, which I will not share, because it's like too much. I'll stop talking about it.
What a
once I'm done. Oh my God. It was like, I just was like, okay. So I'll just say, like, my syllabus was like, because I was like, okay, I there's a lot of things I want to study, and we're all studying all the time, all the things. I mean, astrology and chakras and energy and blah, 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 blah. It just, like, goes on and on, like, it's endless. And that's why we need containers of, we need points of focus. We need direction of mind to help us kind of sort of go, okay, we learned this much about this. We're going to learn that thing, and then we're going to try to integrate it. And then we're going to make the agreement that we're going to stick through this amount of the semester to do it. And so I was like, I've always been great. I love being a student. I'm great at doing other people's coursework. I've written my own coursework for many, many different things in academia, or in, like, a session of doing some kind of movement art. But there's this thing that I'm not finishing. It's this book that I'm writing, right? So I wrote a syllabus. I was like, let me pretend that I am the teacher, and I'm writing the syllabus, like, on how to finish your writing project in 7 weeks. And, like, I wrote a whole thing. I'm like, in this course, you will bring the unfinished product. You must print it out as a prerequisite. You must blah, blah, all this whole download came in about, like, in week 1, we're going to look at the energetics of why you did this thing in the first place. And why are you wanting to finish it? And what does it mean to you? And how is that change? You have to look at the energetics of it. Like, what's the block? Why can't you, why can't you be disciplined about your daily practice within that? Like, what's going on? And then, like, where have you been successful in finishing the coursework, so to speak? Like give yourself grace. Like there's something going on with these things. And I just went on and created this huge syllabus, which I am going to be doing for myself and following my own syllabus. And it just came in like that also felt very like earth sign of me, like too, or like the syllabus. And Adrienne, you probably I know you've thought about this astrologically, but this is maybe another way, but like this Capricorn father of the zodiac energy. Okay, like where's your mind at? What are you doing? What's your plan? Let's, initiate syllabus. And then and then Virgo's like, okay, what are my daily habits to like
To implement this.
implement that, do the homework, implement it. And then Taurus is like, we are gonna see this through. We are gonna see it through. Don't you dare, like that. We are gonna dig into earth and we are gonna grow this beautiful flower, up of knowledge. So anyway, that was my big download that I got all excited about.
What
And
a practice.
So we'll see.
Wow.
I know.
That's amazing.
I
And you
like
know
it.
what I'm thinking
having-
too? Like when you think of your spiritual, like your personal spiritual journey, you start off and you're kind of like, oh, my interest is so peaked. Like there's, all these little ideas, all these things I'm seeing. Oh, chakras. Oh, astrology. Oh, cards, like Reiki, blah, blah, blah. Like you're kind of like, whoa, and you're like in that early stage of like education. You're in like the lower grades and you're just kind of, your consciousness is coming on board and you're starting to kind of intellectualize these things and learn at a basic level. And then you move up in the grades and you're like, okay, I know what I like. I know what I don't like. But I'm still going to like take in the stuff. And then as you continue on, like through the grades of enlightenment or like spiritual journey, you're kind of getting to those points where you're like, oh, I know where I want my focus to be. And then a practice like you just kind of laid out would be such a beautiful way of retaining that focus so that I think there's a lot to what you feel called to. Like it's important to notice what you feel called to because it's for a reason. And maybe it'll only be for a time. Like maybe it'll be, a short study. But at least if you give yourself that tool of like deducing down how you should focus on it, then you'll uncover so much within it, I'm sure, that is like such a deeper level than letting yourself still like beat bop around on all the different topics that you're like, oh, I'm so interested. But yeah, there is some benefit of taking a certain amount of time and saying, this will be my focus. And I'm going to look at that and I'm going to learn that. That's beautiful.
I know. I like this. I think I want to do it myself. I do have a book that I'm trying to, I can't say I'm trying to finish it. It's just, I know it's there. Trying would be, I bring it to me and start looking at it and go, I just can't do it today. No, it's there. It's there.
It's like timing in that, because like it's like you said, like it's in you. It may not be the time, and it's like the syllabus concept. What it highlighted for me was like, this is what it would take to do this, to finish this. Are you ready? Are you ready to make that commitment? Or is it not the right time? And that's okay too. There's the syllabus, it's waiting. There's there's your practical implementation plan there for you. What I think is not always helpful is when we are getting into habit loops of like starting something and not finishing something, and like having like that, just that energy of like, oh, internally you didn't do it. And then you start to have this like, oh, I'm the kind of person who can't finish things.
It gets heavy.
I don't know if I
You
can.
need to have a win.
Yeah. It gets heavy. You need to have a win. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I think too, I might have a slightly different syllabus experience than you all. I love a syllabus, but what I noticed over the years when I was in school is it would feed my anxiety of like the things that are coming. And so there was a part of me that like hated the syllabus because it was like, I'm going to have to do that presentation. I'm going to have that many tests. Like, how am I going to learn all this stuff? And then there's also this stubborn part of me that doesn't like being told what to do, or like, needs to have like a bit of freedom and breathing room
Oh,
in terms of like, I don't want everything laid out for me. I do want a bit of flexibility. So, but I think too, when you come back to even what you were just saying, Melinda, of like, I'm not finishing, there's so many things that I'm starting that I'm not finishing. I think the importance of really sitting with yourself and giving yourself the time to evaluate like what feels true to what I need right now. What do I need to focus on right now? And then that will kind of, if it's something that you know you're drawn to and it's a project or a study topic or whatever, then the syllabus doesn't seem as restrictive. It's kind of this way to help you down the path to stay focused in a really positive way. But yeah, I can sometimes have a stubborn streak with a syllabus.
I see. I can see
Yeah, I
that.
can
My
see that.
gosh,
Um,
that's a good point.
I love a syllabus for a couple of reasons because I like to know how deep we're going. I want to know how deep we're going. And then the other thing is, I want to be, because I study so many different things multiple times, I like to know like which one. I need to like gravitate towards or which one is okay. Oh, I can't, as much as I love this topic, I can't spend 6 hours over here. I learn what it is that you need to and then go to the next thing. But there's also like when you're doing like remember those big anatomy, those science books that are about this thick, about the thick
Oh
as
my
your
gosh,
head.
yeah.
And then one chapter, especially on the nervous system, was like 200 pages long. And I would look at the 200 pages. Okay, we have how many weeks to, or how many days do we have to learn that before the test? And I would break up my reading according to how many
Oh my
days we had.
gosh. You're so organized. Oh my gosh.
Just wait, was it like an overwhelm? Because I like to know what we're learning before I go in to start learning it. Because me, again, question first, and then give me the feedback, or give me the extra. But what I was writing down was about the not finishing, that Jupiter and Cancer was coming in again about being compassionate, expanding your compassion around this topic, expanding this compassion around yourself, and as far as judgment goes. And then I wrote down a little giggle about all my notes and all my different things of study. I need an actual different room for all my different notes, like a classroom that has those. Oh, that's astrology. Let me run to the astrology room to look. My husband is an absolute love and very supportive of everything. But there are times when he just goes, wow. I'm just like, I know. Um, and I was like hesitant on whether or not to talk about this particular day because I know in on the mundane world it does have some connotations already associated with it. But I went ahead and I pulled 9/11 anyway. And I visualized when I was pulling it before the chart even came up, where you have the 9, the 11, and the 9. 2025 reduces down to 9. And how the 9s, those graduates, are actually walking through the portal of the 11. Okay. That's what was coming through for me when I was like envisioning it on what to look like and what I was going to see in this. And there's a trine with the midheaven with and it's an air trine. So releasing, acknowledging, accepting, being in awareness of thoughts that create our patterns, thoughts that create our habits, our speech, letting those things all work together, like being in that air trine, maybe going into a deep journaling of that day. Maybe you can reflect on where you were that day when 9/11 happened, um, gratitudes, you know, discernments, things of that nature. Um, and yeah, I see it as two individuals in robes. They're getting their diploma and they're walking through those pillars of the 11 to the next evolve.
That's beautiful. That's a great image. And yeah, it's a tricky day to talk about, but I also have very dear people in my life whose birthday it is that day, and like to be able to look at that day as this beautiful, graduation of their next solar, they're passing through to the next solar return, just to, you know, acknowledge the gift of that, and I don't know. Yeah, the balance is important to remember, but also to look forward, to look ahead. And life is so complicated with all of its layers. But anyway, that's why I love being with you guys, to reflect on it and to keep, keep, keep moving, keep moving.
Yeah. I love that visual too, Adrienne, of the 9 and 11 and 9, because what was coming to my mind was this thought of every portion of your path that you complete, that you reach that 9 of, you are always able to walk through like alignment. So you'll always be changing, you'll always be learning, you'll always hopefully be upgrading and understanding on deeper levels. But those 2 9s coming into whatever completion that represents, it's like the only way forward is through the 11. Like the only way forward is this reflection of, look at how much you've completed, look how much more aligned you are, and now let's walk forward through it. Like that's just powerful, very powerful. Love that 11 energy for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm also getting like a sense of alignment between sides. Everybody came together at that particular time and was just like, everybody had the same type of feelings of just heartbreak. So yeah, that was coming through for me as well. And interestingly enough, the gifts are still there, and the challenges are still there. What our gifts are: compassion, expansion of compassion, and then the challenges being having that courage to step away from those negative limiting beliefs, or those things that we know are not true about ourselves.
Yeah. And even in reflection of like the past, I think this relates so much to our topic today too, of like, if we are open and trying to be aware, we will see that everything around us is supporting us to move forward in this energy of how everything is shifting, this back to school energy, the way that the stars are lining up, like everything around us in our physical world, whether it's at the grocery store and you see the back to school aisle, or, whatever, like everything around you is showing you that it's okay to step forward into the next chapter of this alignment, this higher learning, this need for a bit more structure, and that it's okay to let go of the things that might have come to light, or even just the things that we were meant to experience in, that bright summer, open out season of time. Now we're moving into the time when things constrict and fall away, and that's okay too, and it's just as beautiful, and we get to do it together, and everything around us is saying, yes, do it, you'll be supported. I think it's just beautiful. So as we finish out, because we could talk forever about all this, what are you ladies tentatively or firmly moving forward with to study or kind of connect to as we kind of get back to school, get back to organized?
So much, so much. I can't say what a specific is for me right now, because I'm coming to the end of a cycle of learning. Big exam coming up that I'll be doing, and then after that, I know that I'm going to. See, I'm giving little tidbits of what's coming up in the in the cosmos, but I'm going to be, really settling in with that Venus energy that's going to be coming into Virgo, that we're going to talk about the next time, and also in a space of, yeah, there's a few things on my list that I definitely want to check off and put them away so that they're done, so that as I continue to go through this, because I know there's going to be some turbulent, there's going to be some rocking of the boat. I mean, and I've got my nauseous pills for when it starts to get all nauseous and I start to get a little seasick because, I'm firm and flexible, ebb and weave. But putting those things in place, putting those things in place that are going to make it so much easier to be seasick. Like grabbing my peppermint, whatever it is, like having those things ready at the ready so that they are ready, shining up my tools, I guess I could say, buffeting my tools. I'm purifying my tools. I'm making sure that we're all going into it with that same energetic frequency and taking some with me that are inspiring me to be a higher frequency. So that's what's coming up for me. What about you guys?
Go ahead, Melinda.
Well, I'm always I'm extending my previous learnings about, I've been interested in Hermeticism and, the universal laws, and of course always studying oracle and tarot and symbolism, and these things are constantly in my field of awareness. And I just have I have my magic book that I do my writing in about symbols and things like that. And so that's just sort of like that's in the background of things continued, my study of hieroglyphs and ancient Egyptian mythology, in addition to my Greek mythology interest. But in particular, sacred geometry has been coming through for me as just like a very like the flower of life and Metatron's cube, and just I'm going to be taking like making my own little syllabus around that study, because that's what's been coming in, and how, even because I do my belly dance practice really is a sacred embodiment practice of sacred geometry, through the body. And so I'm kind of weaving that all into what I do with dance in my dance classes. And then I'm serious about like writing up my full syllabus for my own self, finishing a project that has been on my agenda to finish, because I am,
Virgo of you.
In 2 days, yes, Virgo. And I'm like passing through my solar return in 2 days. I'm going to be 56 years old. That's a sacred 11. I have to pass through within this solar return year, I've dedicated that I will made a sacred pledge to myself to finish this, however imperfectly it is. And that's very important, because on my bibliography is actually a book called like Finish It. And it's like, and a lot of it is around releasing whatever perfectionism is, which is just a concept. It's really just a concept, and it's some kind of like distorted agreement with what and like taking things off of your plate sometimes about what you think you need to do to finish it. And rather than putting more, you just take stuff off and go, wait, actually I can be done, and I can say it's done. That to me that's my learning for the next cycle. That's where I'm going.
Love that.
I do. I love that so much.
Yeah. I think for me, what I'm focusing on, I think my deep dive will be into divine feminine. I'm feeling very called to divine feminine, and I kind of want to get all immersed in the different kind of maybe cultural ways of thinking of that. I don't know. I don't know where it's going to lead me, but that's definitely the topic. There's also been some stuff like that I find interesting, and Melinda, you'll like this because you do it every day. But there is this one woman that keeps popping up on my YouTube feed that does like a certain type of qigong. And so I'm like, okay, she's kind of like a divine feminine feel of this. Maybe I need to kind of explore that too. So I'm the syllabi are coming in, the topics of study are coming in, and I am, but divine feminine, that feels very, but like everybody said, we are also still in our year-long courses that we are in that are oracle related and hermeticism related and all the things that we love to learn. So it'll be everything. But yeah, I think I'll focus in a little bit on that. But we are so grateful that you came and sat with us today as we talked through this exciting change of season, getting back to school, all the things. Let us know in the comments, what are you studying? What do you feel pulled to? What do you think maybe needs a little organization in your life? Are you going to make your own syllabus these days in the next coming weeks? Share with us. We'd love to know. And with that, we will be back in a couple weeks to talk about whatever we feel called to talk about next time.
I can't wait.
I know.
I love our conversation.
I know.
It's been so fun.
I'd love to know what's on everybody's shopping list too. Like, what are they putting on their school shopping list to go back to school?
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe even like
Yeah.
how in the external world are you feeling supported in this new back to school kind of energy?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So that we can all see it when we're out walking around. That would be great.
And one more thing, just to circle back to like a brilliant thing Adrienne started with. What are you putting in the bullshit column? Get rid of that. That was your words, Adrienne.
Let it go.
Tell us what you're putting in the bullshit column, because some of this is just like bullshit. Just no, not gonna do that.
Yes.
That's important.
It is important. What is falling away? Very important. And you might be forceful about it, and that's good too.
Like that shit. Why not?
Get rid of it. All right. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.